Hey guys, I'm here with my balance deck. I just wanted to go over it and see what's inside it. This is Kosei Penitent Warlord. It's a mono green deck. He's a Ogre Samurai. As long as Kosei Penitent Warlord is enchanted, equipped, and has a counter on it, Kosei has whenever Kosei Penitent Warlord deals combat damage to an opponent, you draw that many cards, and Kosei deals that much damage to each other opponent. Okay, so that's what he does. And what we're going to do is basically get those three things on him and just punch your opponent as much as possible. This is like the weakest link. You aim for the weakest link, and it punishes everybody on your opponent. All of your opponents, I mean. Okay, so here we're going to start with the foundation. This is all the cards. This is enchantments and equipments that also put +1/+1 counters on. So if you get one of these, it'll immediately check off two of the boxes that you need, pretty much. Maybe not immediately, but it eventually gets to the point where, because some of them you have to wait until the end of turn or until something happens on your opponent's turn, but it will put counters on as well as being an equipment or an aura. Okay, so we're going to start with, there's like well rested here, so this gives whenever the enchanted creature becomes untapped, you put two +1/+1 counters on it. Then you gain 2 life, draw a card, and it triggers only once each turn, but that doesn't matter because it only needs it to happen once for him to have everything you need. Okay, next we got Sword of Hours. This is whenever equipped creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, you can roll a d12, and if the result is greater than the damage dealt, or the result is 12, double the number of +1/+1 counters. Okay, so that's good. This is gonna like pump Kosei up a whole bunch, as long as you can get the damage through. And even if you don't get the damage through, if he attacks, you still get one +1/+1 counter. So it's pretty great. This is a pretty good enchantment here. We've got Shape of the Weedigo. Shape of the Weedigo. I have to pronounce that because I got it wrong. It's a bit of a tongue twister for me. So when it comes into play, put 6 +1/+1 counters on enchanted creature, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you put a +1/+1 counter on enchanted creature if it attacked or blocked since your last upkeep. Otherwise, remove a +1/+1 counter from it. Okay, so this can be a bit of early on, this can be a bit of a problem if you go without attacking or blocking for a long period of time. But 6 +1/+1 counters is a lot of counters, and you're going to have a whole bunch of more from all the other stuff in this deck, so this is a really good enchantment for pretty much all occasions, as long as you can cast it. It's pretty expensive mana-wise. It's like 6 mana, 3 generic and 3 forests, or 3 green. Next we got Ring of Colonia. This gives trample as well as +1/+1 counters at the beginning of your upkeep. If it's green, which this is a mono green deck, so you don't have to worry about that, because you're going to just put it on your commander, if you're playing correctly. And then, yeah, so this just gives him trample and starts putting +1/+1 counters on him, so that's really good. Checks off 2 of the boxes, equipment and counter. This is an aura. Whenever any opponent successfully casts a creature spell, you can put a +1/+1 counter on an enchanted creature. Okay, so this will help put +1/+1 counters on it, and it's an aura, so it checks off 2 boxes. Eventually, your opponent does have to, cast a creature successfully, but yeah, it works out. We got Power Fist here. This is an equipment. Equipped creature has trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. And it has equip 2, so it's a pretty cheap artifact or equipment to put on your commander, mana-wise. It's pretty expensive. It's not too bad, but fairly expensive money-wise. We've got Pip-Boy 3000. This one has 3 options. Whenever your commander attacks, because that's what you're going to put it on, right? You can draw a card, then discard a card, or you can put a +1/+1 counter on that creature, which would be your commander, or you can check map, which is untap 2 target lands. So it can also work in your favor that way. If you already have the counter, you can also use it as a draw engine, or you can use it to untap lands and yeah, use it to kind of be a bit of a mana ramp. Not really mana ramp, but you know, giving you more mana in your second main phase. We got Hydra's Growth. When it enters the field, put a +1/+1 counter on enchanted creature, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you can double the number of +1/+1 counters on enchanted creature. So if he has lots of counters on him, this is going to do great, and it's going to put one on him anyway. So this is like check off two boxes. We got Fractal Harness. When Fractal Harness enters the battlefield, you can create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token and put X +1/+1 counters on it, and then attach Fractal Harness to it. So if you just put X as 0, unless you want to create the fractal creature token, but if you just use X as 0, then the token immediately dies, and your Fractal Harness is just sitting there. Whenever equipped creature attacks, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. So this one will double counters. This one doesn't actually put counters on the commander, unfortunately. So this is a slight oversight on my part. I apologize. However, you'll have enough +1/+1 counters coming in through all of the other sources that I'm going to go through that this is pretty much good to go at any time. We got Bone Sabres. This is whenever a equipped creature attacks, put 4 +1/+1 counters on it, and yeah, just putting counters on it. And it's an equipment, so it checks off two boxes. And then whenever this is Blade of the Bloodchief, so whenever a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. So that's just solid right there. That works out. It's 1 to play, 1 to equip, and then it puts a +1/+1 counter on him. But it has this second part where if equipped creature is a vampire, you can put 2 +1/+1 counters on him. But he's not a vampire, so we're just going to ignore that ability. It's not going to come into play in this deck. At least in this version of the deck, you guys could probably come up with a version that it would work better with. I know that there's like some green enchantments that change creature type, and there's like equipment that change creature type to like shapeshifter or I think it's shapeshifter. It gives him all creature types, and you could play around with that. That's a pretty fun way to go. And we got Armory of Iroas. This is whenever equipped creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Pretty simple. So this is, yeah, these are all the equipment and enchantments that will form the backbone of your main game plan. And then we've got other auras that do protection and whatnot. I'm just going to quickly rattle through these. We've got Treefolk Umbra, Strongback, Spider Umbra, Rancor, Mark of Sakiko, Lion Umbra. With Lion Umbra, this one you can only enchant a creature if it's already modified, which means if it's already equipped, or it already has an aura, or it already has a counter on it, then you can put this one on. All of these Umbra, like Umbral Armor and Totem Armor, this is all good for protection. Reach, Trample, you just want things to be able to get through stuff. This Mark of Sakiko is good for mana ramp. We've got Leyline Immersion, which is also good for mana ramp. It has to enchant a legendary creature, however. So you might have to put that on the commander. I don't have too many legendary creatures in this deck, so it could be a bit of a detriment depending on where you are at in the game, because you have to tap the creature in order to add the mana. And then we've got Fruit of the First Tree. This is really just, in my games, I like the life gain and card draw. It's like a fallback. You could also replace this with other things that I'll go through later. Canopy cover. This is, yeah, just can't be blocked by creatures except by creatures with flying or reach, and it can't be the target of spells or abilities. So it's basically hexproof and reach. It's not actually reach. It can't be blocked by, so it gives it like flying, basically flying and reach. No, flying and hexproof. Sorry, that's canopy cover. Is that one? Okay, and then we got Bear Umbra. This is good for totem armor and for mana ramp, kind of, in your second main phase. So you can untap all your lands whenever you attack, and then, yeah, that's great. We got Alpha Authority. This is just hexproof and can't be blocked by more than one creature. This is good for just one-on-one bashing into your opponents. We've got Aether Web. This gives +1/+1 and can be blocked as though enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and can be blocked as though it had flying, and can block creatures of shadow as though they didn't have shadow. So it basically gives it flying, gives it the ability to block as though it had flying, and it gives the ability to block shadow. That doesn't really come into play a whole lot, but sometimes it does, especially in the games that I play, so that's why that's in there. It could be replaced if you've got better things to put in there, which there are. There are better things to put in there if your playgroup doesn't use shadow on their creature abilities. Okay, so here's the whole list of just main auras, aside from the +1/+1 counter ones. And then we've got the equipment. This is just the main equipment, gives Whispersit Cloak, gives Unblockable and Shroud. We've got Trailblazer's Boots, gives non-basic land walk, which is great for commander decks because everybody's going to have at least one non-basic land somewhere. We got Tanuki Transplanter, which is just an equipment that also does mana ramp whenever equipped creature attacks, or this equipment creature. It's an artifact creature equipment, so it's pretty well-rounded for mana ramp. We got Sword of Sinew and Steel. This is for some removal. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can destroy up to one target planeswalker and one artifact. This is great for protection. Well, not really protection, more like offense. This is great for offense because you can start getting rid of any planeswalkers or artifacts that your opponents have, like soul rings and stuff like that. Pretty good. Got Swiftfoot Boots for that haste and hexproof. And then we got Hero's Heirloom for trample and haste, so that trample is going to come in very handy. We've got Hammer of Nazahn. This is great for indestructible, and it also allows you to attach equipment. If this is on the field, then you can directly attach equipment to a creature you control. And then Basilisk Collar. This is Death Touch and Lifelink. So this one doesn't really add any counters or anything, but Death Touch and Lifelink is great for survivability. So that's all the main equipments. Next, we've got some support. This is basically other creatures and stuff for support. We've got the Vorinclex Monstrous Raider. This doubles your counters and reduces your opponent's counters if they put counters on their things. It's just great. He's got Trample Haste. He's a 6/6 big guy. Vigor just prevents all damage that would be dealt to another creature you control, and for all the damage prevented that way, you get a +1/+1 counter. For each one damage prevented this way, you get a +1. So this can help out a lot with protection. You got Sweet Gum Recluse. This one flashes in, and you can cascade it, so you get another spell. Hopefully a good one when you cast it. If you can put 3 +1/+1 counters on any number of target creatures that enter the battlefield this turn. So if you casted like two creatures, like your commander and someone else, and then you casted Sweet Gum Recluse, you could put 3 +1/+1. You could put 3 +1/+1 counters on each creature that entered the field. So like your commander and then whatever other creature, and then also Sweet Gum Recluse also gets it. So it just buffs whatever creatures entered the battlefield that turn, and also has Cascade. So that's just really good. And it has Reach, so you can block creatures with flying. Sculpting Steel. This is good for copying artifacts, any equipment. You can copy your opponent's equipment, you can copy your own equipment, you can copy somebody's soul ring, just anything. Scale the Heights. This is good for, putting +1. You can put a +1/+1 counter on up to one target creature. You gain 2 life, and you can play an additional land and then draw a card. This is just solid. solid. You can get some like mana ramp out of it. You get some life. You get a counter. You draw a card. It replaces itself in your hand. This is just solid. Land. This is Retreat to Sandu. This is life gain and also +1/+1 counters on landfall. Good stuff. Mirage Mirror can also become a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land until end of turn. So this is just another copy, being able to just copy stuff. We got Ecologist's Terrarium. This is you can search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it in your hand when it enters the battlefield, and then you can pay 2 and tap it and sacrifice it to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. You can only activate it as a sorcery, but that's great because you just need the 1 counter on your commander to get it to start doing counter stuff, so that's good. Duskshell Crawler gives another creature +1/+1 counter, another target creature on a target creature, actually. So it can target itself. When it enters the battlefield, it can put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, and each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it also has trample. And then we got Concord of the Kami. This one is actually goes really well with Kosei because it also has at the beginning of your end step. It also has the 3 boxes that you need to check off. So put a +1/+1 counter on target creature with a counter on it. Draw a card if you control an enchanted creature, and create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token if you control an equipped creature. So this one also has the 3 boxes that you need to check off. So if your commanders all 3 boxes are already checked off, you play this and you get all of these bonuses as well at the end of your turn, which is great. We got Brass Squire just to help out with the attaching equipments, and we got Aquastrand Spider. This one's just for more +1/+1 counters. It has graft, so it can help putting +1/+1 counters on other creatures. And it also has pay a green, and target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it gains reach until end of turn. So that's great for blocking flyers as well. Okay, so that's all the support, alternate support. We got defense and removal. So we've got Unravel the Aether. This is just shuffle target artifact or enchantment into its owner's library. We've got Degraded Aura. This is basically a board wipe, kind of. Not really, but kind of. Well, it just shakes things up a bit. If you don't like how things are going, you can shake it up and hopefully get a better position. We got Tamio's Safekeeping, Spearbreaker Behemoth, Snag, Side of the Scale Lords. This gives Vigilance, which is great for your commander because then you don't have to tap them to attack. You can just attack, and still block stuff. So Vigilance, anything that gives Vigilance is pretty good to put in here. We got Scour from Existence. This is just something I put in because I needed more exile effects. We got Sandworm Convergence. This is good for protecting against flying, and you also get a bunch of worm tokens. Well, just one at the end of each of your turns, but that builds up if nobody board wipes or does anything crazy. We got Return to Nature. This is just destroy artifact enchantment, exile some graveyards. We got Nactil War Pride. This is good against token decks. If you got somebody making a bunch of tokens and they're just a bunch of little guys, just attack them with this guy, and you'll get them pretty good. Especially if you start putting +1/+1 counters on. Wait, does that guy? Doesn't really. Okay, well, still, as long as the tokens are 3 or lower, it'll work out. We got Croissant Grip for more artifact and enchantment removal. We got Fraying Line for another kind of board wipe, sort of. We got Brutalizer Exarch. This is for a. You could use it as a tutor, but it's mostly I find I'm using it to put target non-creature permanent on the bottom of its owner's library as a removal. That's what I find I'm using it most often for. We got Broken Bond. This is removal, as well as it can also be mana ramp. If you have a land in your hand, you can put it on the field. And yeah, okay. And then we've got Bonds of Mortality. This just makes your opponent's creatures lose hexproof and indestructible. You also get a draw card when you play it, so it's pretty good. And we got Blessed Respite, which is just puts a graveyard into their library, and you can prevent all combat damage. So it's like a fog plus graveyard graveyard recovery, I guess. So that's all the defense and removal. We've got mana support. This is your dedicated mana stuff that's not already mentioned. So we've got Soul Ring. That doesn't really need to be talked about much. Rampant Rejuvenator. This is great, especially with all the +1/+1 counters you're going to be throwing around. You can definitely put a few on this guy and then use it to get a whole bunch of basic lands. Delighted Halfling. This is obviously really good to put in here. Cage Sun, because it's mono green, so Cage Sun is pretty solid. And we got Arcane Signet, which is pretty solid. And then we've got all of the other mana support as well over here. We've got Tanuki Transplanter. Sculpting Steel can also become a copy of anything that does that kind of stuff. Scale the Heights can also be mana if you put, yeah. And then we got Pip-Boy 3000, Mark of Sakiko, Leyline Immersion, Ecologist, Terrarium, Broken Bond, Bear Umbra. This is just solid. And then we got the lands here. So we got 16 basic forests, and the rest all over here are not basic. We got Yavimaya. Let me see that again. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. We've got Scavenger Grounds. This is for preventing, graveyard shenanigans. And then we've got Sapsuit Forest, Roadside Reliquary, Reliquary Tower, Oran the Vastwood, Opal Palace, Myriad Landscape, Lenoir Reborn, Karn's Bastion, Jungle Basin. This is just, I have a soft spot for these cards. I know that they're not the greatest, and you guys would probably just replace them with something else, but I really like these ones, and I just put them in because I can. Basically, that's the only reason. That's basically the only reason. I just like yeah. And then we got Hashep Oasis, and then we got Gingerbread Cabin. We've got Forge of Heroes. We've got Desert of the Indomitable. We've got Castle Garenbrig. We've got Buried Ruin, and we've got Blighted Woodland. So that's all the lands that we got in this deck. Yeah, there's probably, I know that there's people out there that will say this probably is not nearly enough, but I think it just works out pretty good. And then we got potential upgrades. These are cards that I could put in if I wanted to. I mean, they fit the theme and they work really well. So this is just like honorable mentions, things that you could put in. Titanith Rex is actually really good, and I'd put that in if you could. The Eternity Elevator is really good. The Earth Crystal is one that I'm going to be putting in if I ever get to that point, get back into playing the game. I will definitely be putting the Earth Crystal in, and Terra Symbiosis. Terra Symbiosis is also another one that will go into the deck. We got Strength of Will. This one can be a sort of protection, and you can also use it to put +1/+1 counters on things if you use it as like a defensive spell during combat. So that'd be pretty good. We've got Sporeback Troll, which is Graft and gives Regenerate to another target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it. We've got Silk Guard, that's more protection. We've got Secluded Star Yard. We've got Saz Catsroy. We've got Savage Summoning. This one's really good to put in the deck. I used to have it in there, and then I took it out for some reason, and I don't remember why. I'll probably put it back in at some point. We got Ride the Shoe Puff. We've got Poo Poo UFO. This is a pretty funny one. I just wanted to put it in there because it has it's a pretty good land ramp card. We got Prishy's Wanderings. It's pretty solid. Origin of Metal Bedding, Masterwork of Ingenuity. This is good for copying any equipment. So if you need more equipment, this is a good one to put in. You can copy like opponents' equipments and stuff. It's pretty good. We got Map the Wastes. This is for mana ramp as well as Bolster, which allows you to put a counter on. So that's pretty solid. We got Loading Zone. We got Gallus Final Act, Gaia's Gift. We've got Forced Adaptation. Forced Adaptation I used to have in here, but I took it out because I found that it was not as strong as some other cards that I could put in there, so then I took it out. We got Flopsy, Boomy's Buddy, that was a pretty good one. Drix Fate Maker, Cytospawn Shambler. I used to have this in there too, but then I just found that the mana cost was too high. I already had enough high mana cost cards in there at the time, so I took it out. But it's pretty good for that trample. And then Buster Sword, because that's broken. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's all the potential upgrades that I found and have tried some of them, and they are pretty good. And that's the deck. That's the end. Yeah. See you guys in the next video.